Hello everyone and welcome back to the demo of Jen's Quest. One thing that I did want to show off and I forgot to is the fact that Joel McCormick, the creator of this game, clearly recognized that the game would be played by gamers who are, of course, a little bit sexually, I don't want to say frustrated, but inclined, because he would realize that he realized that gamers would try to do things with our roommate, like, for example, this.
We're roommates, not lovers. You do know the difference, right?
And you can use other verbs as well in the situation to the same effect and get the same message. The game does also recognize this verb. Jen states that this is not exactly the time, which I confess I kind of disagree with her on that. I think there is no wrong time for such activity, but what can I say? There is a story which some of you may know. I think when Sierra was still fairly new and they were still just getting into adventure games, there was this meeting that they had with a bunch of investors demoing the first Leisure Suit Larry game. And one of the investors was watching them actually play, test play this game, said, "What happens if you type masturbate?" And Al Lowe, who was in the room, said, "I don't remember. I don't know if we programmed the game to recognize that command. Try it." And so they did. They tried typing it in as a command to the game. And of course, those of you who have tried it in the first Leisure Suit Larry know that if you try typing that in, the game responds, "Larry, the whole point was to stop doing that." And so they got this magnificent response from the game, and this whole room full of investors bursts into applause. Like, the whole room just erupts in applause because they're so proud that the game actually provided a clever and relevant response for a what might have seemed like an unexpected command, but actually it wasn't, because that's one of the first things that you try when you play a game like this. You try all the things that you couldn't do in real life because you'd go to jail. So anyway, in this new area that we're in, we can't actually go up or down in the demo. All of these screens, except I sped up the game because it was too, yeah. You can't go down or left from here. You can go up from this first room, but I'm not going to go there yet. And all these other screens, you cannot go up or down. You can only go left or right. So now it's going pretty fast. But anyway, this, I believe, is the last screen. Yeah, we can't go that way in the demo. So this is the last screen here, and there's this little house here. So let's go ahead and look around. There's a wooden house. At the moment, you don't know who lives here. Okay. Can we find out? Let's open door. It is common courtesy to knock before entering someone's home, but not in a Sierra adventure game. Come on, people. This is an adventure game. This is not real life. Okay. Actually, I guess it's not true. I think in the in the first Quest for Glory game, you had to knock before entering the healer's house, but that was because the door was locked. Okay, let's knock. You knock on the door, and after a brief moment, you hear a woman's voice telling you that you may enter. "Hello, young lady. I don't believe I've ever met you before. Welcome to our home. I am Charles, and this is my wife, Clarissa." Okay.
I'm Jennifer.
"It's a pleasure to meet you, Jennifer. You must not be from around here."
No, I'm not.
"I don't mean to be unwelcoming, but however it is that you managed to come here, it would be in your best interest to leave as quickly as possible. This is no place for anyone to be, let alone a young woman with no one to protect her."
A friend of mine is in trouble. I can't leave, but I think I can take care of myself well enough.
"If you're going to stay, let me warn you. It would be wise for you to avoid the notice of Tony and his soldiers as much as possible." "Who's Tony?" "Yes." Oh, this is Clarissa speaking. "Yes, they've been known to take special notice of young, pretty girls like you, especially if you cause any trouble for them." You tell them about Kristen's kidnapping. Am I wrong? I'm pretty sure there are two P's in that word. Okay, we tell them about Kristen's kidnapping and the note that said Tony was responsible. "I understand. Let me suggest to you that you contact the rebels to help you." "What rebels?" We don't even know any rebels. "They can handle things like this. They returned Eliza to her father." "Who's Eliza?"
Where can I find them?
"I'm sorry, I don't know." Okay, then how do you know there are rebels? Continuing the theme that I was just speaking of a few minutes earlier, you can try all sorts of interesting things with these two people. You can first attempt to initiate relations with Charles, but Jen complains that he's a little too old for her, and she suspects that Clarissa might disapprove of this behavior, which is probably a reasonable assumption to make. You can also attempt to initiate something similar with Clarissa, and Jen provides a sarcastic response.
It's always been my fondest desire to have lesbian sex with a 60-year-old woman.
That sounds pretty good to me. And if you try doing it, if you specify both of them, then Jen understands exactly what we're driving at here, and she sarcastically explains that she's not actually going to indulge in what we're proposing. But it was it was nice of us to think of it. Now, there are a lot of other things that you can ask these people about, including a lot of things which I'm pretty sure don't really make sense in the context of the demo right now. I actually opened up this game with AGI Studio and looked at what's inside, and there's a lot of stuff here that really apparently was added in with future ideas in mind, but which don't have any context here. So I'm not going to really ask these people about everything that you can ask about. But actually, while I'm here, I just remembered we should probably ask what crunchies are, because we did see a mention of crunchy. How many crunchies was it? Let's read the note again. 10,000 crunchies. So we need 10,000 crunchies, but we don't know what a crunchie is. And remember, I'd said a crunchie is actually not slang for a dollar, like a buck. So let's go ahead and ask about crunchies. Money is virtually useless around here, and you'll find there isn't much of it around. We help each other out with what we need and do without the rest. We use crunchies only to buy the seeds we need for planting from Tony. He engineers them or buys them engineered so that they will only produce one crop. I imagine he has a source of income away from Naraza. I don't even know what Naraza is. I'm assuming that's the name of the place where we are. Kind of like Narnia, except not Narnia, because it's completely different. There is no real exchange going on when we buy seeds. He pays us exactly as much for the food as we pay for the seeds. If anything, he is losing money. After all, we must eat too. Did I do that in the right voice? Oh. I wasn't paying attention because both Charles and Clarissa, both of their names start with C. For some reason I thought that Charles was talking, even though it actually alternated because one of them was talking and then the other started talking. So I did that in a masculine voice, even though I think at least part of the time I was supposed to be narrating Clarissa, so I'm sorry about that. So we still don't really have a lot of information to go on, but if we come up here, we'll find that there appears to be some sort of a structure, obviously a man-made structure in the background. And by that I mean a human-made structure. We also can't go left or right from here. And I don't think we can do anything with this rock or this tree. So let's go ahead and save the game once more. And I'll just say south of, what is that, I'll say castle. It might not be technically a castle. It might be like a fortress or something else. But let's see what's going on up here. Carefully cross the long bridge. And there are a couple of men in black here with sunglasses, apparently guarding the entrance. Let's go ahead and talk to them. I'm sure that there's nothing bad that could happen here. That's far enough. Oh, not far enough for me. Come any closer and you die. I could have sworn those guards warned you not to step any closer. That's what you get for not listening. Alright, well, that was helpful. Oh, by the way, speaking of dying, this game also does allow you to simply type die. What kind of moron are you? What retard would type the word die? Well, I'll grant your request, but it's your own fault. And I think they actually, you didn't see it very well because it was quickly covered up by the message box, but they actually bothered to draw a nice, and by they I mean Joel McCormick, bothered to draw a very nice picture of our heroine passed out in a pool of blood on the ground. Alright, so what can we do here? We can, of course, shapeshift, so we can morph into, for example, actually at this point in time you can morph into a lot of things. The game recognizes a lot of different options. For example, you can just type morph into guy, and that causes you to morph into this, I assume it's a guy. And I really don't know where this guy came from because we haven't seen him before. It's just sort of something that was put into the game. You can also say morph into Charles, And by the way, in terms of this game, morph and shapeshift are synonyms. I'm typing morph just because it's easier and faster to type. But yeah, you can shapeshift into Charles, the guy that we met at the house. You can morph into his wife, Clarissa. And can we morph into... I don't think we morph into Kristen. Oh, we can. We can actually morph into our kidnapped roommate, Kristen. But all of these have the same result. If you go up there to that fortress or castle at the top, you'll get exactly the same conversation that we just experienced. So, the only form that really has any difference, as you might guess, the only form that makes a difference is to morph into one of the guards. And now we look just like one of those two guards who were guarding the castle. So now that we look like a guard, let's go ahead and introduce ourselves. State your name and position. John Smith. I'm a patrol guard. Stupid rebels. I don't really know what this message means exactly. It doesn't really seem to make much sense to me. Perhaps it's also something that was meant to be reworked at a later time, but I don't really know. So that's pretty much it. One other thing that we can do here is show the note. We can say show note to these guards, and apparently the guards acknowledge it, and they ask if we have the money. Jen explains,
You don't understand. I'm not Claudia. Tony's got the wrong girl.
I believe you. No, really, I do. But my gun doesn't. It says no crunchies, no entry. What I also find interesting here is that, notice, he asks if you have the money in reference to crunchies, even though Charles explicitly said that crunchies are not money because money has no use here. So that's another bit of a not a plot hole, but I guess an oversight. And unfortunately, that's all. That's actually, so like I said, I opened up this game in AGI Studio, and there is no, not only is there not a way to get past the guards, there is no code. There's no, there are no graphics or logic or anything in the game for any room beyond that screen with the guards. So this is really the end of the demo. So, let's see, can I walk off the side of this bridge? No, the game won't even let me walk off the side of the bridge. So, just to kind of close out this exposition of the demo and sort of capture the real essence of the spirit of Jen's quest, let's go ahead and see what happens if we try to become a little bit, just get a little bit closer to these guards. And in some sort of deference to respect for women, I'm not going to go ahead and read these aloud just because I think that would be a little bit awkward, but I'm going to go ahead and you folks can just read these for yourselves and come to your own conclusions about Jennifer's ideas about what she would do with the guards guarding this facility. Yes, there could be. In fact, there probably are. Well, maybe not hundreds, but probably more than just these two. I really have a very, very strong desire to not comment on this screen of text at all. Actually, that's a lie. I have a lot of things that I'd like to say, but I probably shouldn't because there's a certain limit to how perverted, shall I say, I'd like to get. I mean, there are many things that could be said here, but I think I'd like to refrain from commenting at this time. You folks can insert your own clever responses in the comments to the video. You're welcome to supply your own commentary here and come to your own conclusions. Anyway, And of course, this is a valid point. They certainly are not under any obligation to let Kristen go, even if Jennifer does apply herself to the situation. So, yeah, that's it. That was. That music starts playing again. That was it. That was the demo for Jen's Quest. Like I said, I thought it was interesting. The idea of being a shapeshifter and the way that it's implemented seems, I don't know, it seems like there's a lot that you could do with it. Obviously, a lot more work needs to be put into this to make it a real, like a full-length adventure game. And I know that, like I said, I know Mr. McCormick was working on this for a long time, so I don't want to put pressure on him. But Mr. McCormick, if you're watching this, I would be curious to know what ended up happening with this game, which later became known as Chimera Angel, because I know that probably years of work and ultimately went into it, and I'm going to assume that it was just abandoned because it was too much work, and Joel probably didn't have much support in making the game. But like I said, I don't want to encourage people to send him hundreds of angry emails saying, "Why didn't you ever finish Jen's Quest?" But I would like to know if there's any possibility of this project ever seeing the light of day as a completed game. So that was all. That was all I wanted to show. Thank you, folks, for watching. I hope that it was at least mildly interesting watching our Jennifer contemplate spending time with hundreds of guards for the sake of her friend. That's certainly that would certainly be an adventure game puzzle solution that would distinguish itself as having innovative qualities, but it wasn't really the solution. So anyway, thanks again for watching, everyone. I hope everyone's doing well, and take care, folks. I will talk to you later. Bye-bye for now.